there's a religious man who is suing a religious school because he says he was religiously discriminated against. And the school says, no, you weren't. We were just practicing our faith. And what the hell do you do with that when everyone's asking a judge, like, it was my faith? No, it was my faith. Who's the judge supposed to go with? It's wild. I can't wait to see how this plays out. So here's what this dude is saying. Some guy is suing Boston College, and he's going back to COVID days because this happened in April of 2021. Let me take you back to April of 2021. The vaccines were finally available, and people were trying to get their shots if you were responsible anyway. And all these places had to decide, okay, how are we going to deal with the vaccine? Are we going to ask our employees to get the vaccine before they come to work? And at Boston College, which is a private school, private Catholic school, they said, yeah, we want everyone to get vaccinated. And the only way you can come back to work if you're not vaccinated is if you have a very good reason. So if you have a medical reason you can't get vaccinated, bring us a doctor's note. If you have a religious reason you can't get vaccinated, well, bring us a priest's note. But basically they said, yeah, everyone go get vaccinated. That's what they did. And they said, Boston College has said since, this isn't something they did on a whim. They did it because the Pope told them to do it. This is a statement that was released by the Vatican about vaccines, a note on the morality of using some anti-COVID-19 vaccines. This came out in early 2021. And the part I want to draw your attention to, they put out this statement because there were rumors flying around among the conspiracy-minded people that like these vaccines were made from the blood of fetuses. I don't know. They believe a lot of dumb things. And like the way you get a COVID shot is Pfizer has like a tank made of fetus heads, and you crack one open and you drink the blood and that becomes the vaccine. They believe very dumb things. I think more seriously, they said the method, the scientific method that was used to develop the vaccines used a line of cells that came from an aborted fetus dozens and dozens of years ago, and that made it unethical to take the vaccine. And that's not true either. But the Vatican felt the need to speak out. And this is what the Vatican said. They called COVID a grave danger, such as the otherwise uncontainable spread of a serious pathological agent. They said, look, we have to work in the gray areas here when it comes to ethics, and we understand COVID-19 is a very big deal. It is spreading. It's killed a lot of people. It's a grave danger. So everything we're about to tell you, take with a grain of salt. And they went on to say that there is morality. The morality of vaccination depends not only on the duty to protect one's own health, but also on the duty to pursue the common good. So this is not a debunking of the vaccine myth that right-wing people were spreading, but they were saying, look, even if it came from a line of cells that came from an aborted fetus, who cares? Get vaccinated. The Vatican is telling you, Catholics, it's okay to get vaccinated. So, yay, I guess. I'm glad they said the right thing in that case, even if it's not for the reasons I would have liked. But that's fine. So Boston College says, well, the Vatican said vaccines are cool, so we're going to go ahead and go forth with a mandate of sorts. And they said, our exceptions to the rule are done in a neutral, non-discriminatory way. And one guy is now saying that is not true. So here's the dude in question. This is his lawsuit. His name is Avenir Agaj, and he's suing Boston College, and he wrote the whole lawsuit himself. He has no lawyer, I don't think. It kind of, it reads like a dude who wrote his own complaint. But this goes on for a while, and he's saying, all right, I demand and hold Boston College liable for $1.2 million in damages and $300,000 in back pay and benefits, and I want my job back. By the way, he works as a landscaper, or at least he did. He worked as a landscaper at the school. So this guy sues Boston College. saying you fired me because I didn't want to get vaccinated, and I'm suing you because I want my job back and I want a whole bunch of money. And he says he has a religious argument because in the lawsuit, I'm going to show you this picture right here. This is a screenshot from his lawsuit. Look at what it says. Boston College discriminated against me intentionally, okay, because of my sincere held religious beliefs as a bogomil, a minority religion, and my medical practice, ethnobotany. We'll get to that in a second. And then he says they discriminated against my culture and origins as a legal immigrant. They violated my privacy. They deceived me. They tried under duress to make me resign. It's very whiny. In case you're wondering what the hell this dude is talking about, what is a bogomil? Bogomilism. I mean, it's a Christian sect that Wikipedia told me was found in the 10th century. It also believes Satan created all matter. What is ethnobotany? It's a made-up thing that is basically a form of traditional medicine where we use plants instead of science to figure things out. It includes a whole bunch of pseudoscientific beliefs, including what this guy says he believes. He says he believes in faith healing and that his religion, he said, forbids him from taking anything that risks his health and spiritual well-being. And he said his body is a temple and it's his duty to keep it pure and free from filth. So he's like, you know what? It doesn't really matter the specifics of his faith. I don't know anything about it. I know it's tempting to call it weird, but I think I want to be careful. I don't want to call it weird just because I'm not familiar with it. All these religious beliefs are weird, even the ones we are very familiar with. So whatever. Dude says he's religious and he has religious reasons not to get vaccinated. He said he contacted the government, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, but they never got back to him. And so he said, I'm now filing this lawsuit because it's my last resort. Okay, so Boston College sees this lawsuit and they ask a judge to basically toss it out. And what they say is, look, we gave people the option to come back to work without getting vaccinated if they gave us the right paperwork. And this dude did not give us the paperwork. There's no note from his doctor. There's no note from his priest or whatever you want to call it. He didn't submit adequate information. Like they asked him for a note from his religious leader. He didn't give one. He said he did not have access to such documents, which is probably true because it's like 1,000-year-old religion. And I'm guessing they didn't have much to say about vaccines in their charter 1,000 years ago. They also pointed out, Boston College did in their rebuttal, that, hey, this guy also complained to the Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination. But he didn't even include some of the complaints he's making in this lawsuit, which is a way of telling the judge, this guy is wasting your time because he hasn't even used up whatever administrative remedies he has. He needs to do that first before trying to sue. So fair points. So Boston College is basically saying if we allow unvaccinated people on our campus in the middle of a pandemic, especially when no one has a good reason not to get the shot, you're actually making life harder for us because more people are going to die. So they said, yeah, we had to fire him, which honestly, it totally makes sense to me. Boston College said we offered this guy reasonable accommodations. He didn't take advantage of them. So what he wanted was a non-starter. Now, here's the sad news. Okay. The sad news is the judge, the federal judge looking at this case a couple weeks ago, her name is Julia Kobik. She's a Biden appointee. She said, listen, I am going to toss out most of this case, but I'm not going to toss out all of this case. And this is the part that I think is worth listening to. Agaj's second exemption request clears that hurdle. It conveyed to Boston College that he believed the vaccine would pose a risk to his health and that the college's vaccination requirement conflicted with his faith. And that's it. He believed it. It also conveyed a religious belief that he has to keep his body free from impurities and that taking the vaccine would conflict with his belief. And if I can summarize what the judge is saying, she's saying, look, you're saying he didn't fill out the paperwork, Boston College, but according to the way the Supreme Court has been ruling lately, paperwork really isn't what he needed to provide. If he says, my religion tells me I can't get vaccinated, you have to respect that. Not saying, sorry, I want to be clear. The judge isn't saying Boston College needs to do that, but she's saying that argument has some weight. And now the onus is on Boston College to explain why saying no to this guy is not religious discrimination. So she's not going to toss out the entire lawsuit because this dude made clear his religion is the reason he didn't want to get vaccinated. And on that ground alone, she can't just toss it out. So there's no ruling yet. It's still in court, but she's not ready to get rid of it. I don't even know if she believes this bullshit, but we'll see. The other update to this is that last month, like at the end of November, Boston College responded in a little more depth to the complaint now that they have to deal with it. And they basically said, look, our policy on vaccines is informed by Catholic Church teachings, so we were engaging in our religious beliefs too. And now this kind of goes back to the judge. There are two different ideas of religious beliefs being pitted against one another, and I don't know who's going to win. Like in a more reasonable world, a school asking employees to provide a damn good reason for not getting vaccinated if they want to avoid an otherwise sensible mandate would not be in question. But because that employee in this case holds very nutty beliefs about vaccines that happen to be faith-based, this lawsuit has not yet been laughed out of a courtroom. So I don't know if he's going to win, but it is kind of ridiculous that conservatives in our legal system, Republican nominees, have made religion this weapon that anyone can use to get out of following any rule that they claim violates their beliefs, even if they can't provide the paperwork for it.